time for a Ask Andy. Hello, everyone. I'll see what I can do, how much I can help you with over the next 30 minutes with your money questions. As ever, just whack them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. If you're confused why I'm looking here and there, this is YouTube, this is Instagram. So I'm on both platforms, whichever one you prefer. YouTube's probably a little bit easier for me, but don't worry, I'm here to help you as much as I can. You're also very welcome to lurk. And we've got some people already with some questions on YouTube. Evening from Minimad, hello, nice to see you. Celestial Elixir, hi Andy, I recently read that if you were to open a current account with Halifax when already holding one with them, they don't perform a credit check. Is this the case? So, I am waiting for my credit report to be updated so I can absolutely 100% confirm this. So you might remember I spoke about this on my best bank accounts news updates video at the start of the month, that you can now open up more than one, well, officially from November, but you can do it now, more than one Halifax Reward current account. You have up to 3 of them and therefore get the bonus on 3 of them as well at the same time, which is a great, nice little bit extra. I opened up a second account, it worked, the rewards are tracking, all fine, all those bits and pieces. I still don't know about the credit check, so I can't tell you that. Nothing has appeared yet, but it doesn't mean it won't, because those free credit reference agency accounts that you can check without any charge at all. So MSC, Money Saving Experts, Credit Club will look at Experian. ClearScore will look at Equifax. Obviously, TransUnion is already Nodal. It's the same thing. Credit Karma, Nodal as it was before. They don't always update instantly. They can be maybe a bit behind the real thing. So sadly, I don't have an update for you on that. As soon as I do, I will let you know. In fact, when I do my next best bank account offer update at the start of September, that is when I'll hopefully be able to give you concrete information about that. You've also got a follow-up question here. How do I perform a partial switch between current accounts? It seems more complicated than doing a full complete switch using CAS. For those of you who don't know, CAS is the current account switching service. This is the regulated rules that all the big banks signed up to. That means that if you are doing a full switch from one bank to the other, which is often required for the switching bonuses, but you also get protections that come with that. So if a direct debit doesn't move over or money in and out doesn't move over, then you're protected for it. Okay, so it's a good thing to do. If you do something called a partial switch, it's not part of that, so you're right, it doesn't have the guarantees. However, not all banks also let you do a partial switch. So for example, I had an account, I didn't want to get rid of my Santander 123 Lite account. I want to keep my bills in there, earn the cash back on that, which is great. But I wanted to use my main account as Starling. I thought I could do a partial switch, keep some things in that account, move everything over there. This was a few years ago now, but that time, I think it's still the case, Starling wouldn't allow a partial switch, so you couldn't do it. Other banks would allow it. You just got to go in and start the switch process, and when it asks you, do you want to do a full switch or a partial switch, you select a partial switch. Personally, depending on how many direct debits you've got, it might just be easier to contact the provider and go, right, I want to change my direct debit. Simple as that. Again, if you've got dozens and dozens and dozens of direct debits, that's going to take time. But if we're talking about 2, 3 or 4 of them, maybe just do that. Right, okay, let me quickly check over on Instagram. So I have to lean in here because it's all much smaller print. I'm getting old. Right, this is a good question from Zach. I'm not going to be able to help you. Zach says, how much should I have saved at 22? There is no answer. There's no set answer to how much you should save at 22 or 28 or 32 or 45 or 65 or 80. There's no rule on there essentially how much you should have. I would say, obviously at a younger age, in terms of savings, anything you can get is fantastic. But for anyone really, the first thing you want to think about when you're saving is how much you can put aside to support you in the case of an emergency. Okay, so the rule of thumb that's been sort of said for years and years and years and years is 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. So you're paying your rent, paying your bills, you've got food, if you need a car to get to work, you've got petrol, all those kind of things. Aim to have that amount of money. You might decide you want more than that. If you have an irregular income like I do, if you're a freelancer or self-employed, you might want to have more money available to you in savings because you could suddenly have no income coming in for a long period, or it goes up and down. You might decide, you know what, I can't even afford 1 month of emergencies, in which case having 1 month of emergency savings is a great thing to aim for. If you've got that, then the next thing to look for is kind of anything else you're saving towards. And obviously, I'm assuming here there are no debts. If you've got debts, clear those debts with your savings. Save up for those things, holidays, car, house, any of those things, save up for those. But also at the same time, don't forget about retirement. Now, obviously, if you're working, you'll have your pension and there'll be savings going into there, which will be invested. So yeah, I hope that helps you, Zach. Broadly, save as much as you can. But if you want to buy something, you can afford it, then great, then go for it. Loads of things coming through here. There's something doing it on Sundays. There's more of you here than there is if I do it on a Tuesday. Jack says, hey Andy, any update on the money's cashback? Going to switch back to Chase? If not, I reckon. So I've got an inquiry in with the money's press office about this. What they've told me is that the money will be paid at the end of the following month where you earn the cash back. So depending on when you sign up for the money's offer, if you go to the first tranche, that would mean you're earning cash back in from the 1st of July until the end of the year. So you will get the cash back for July at the end of August. If you signed up for the second lot of it, which starts on the 1st of August, then you won't get the cash back you earn this month until the end of September. I said to them, is there any way for people to track this, that is actually coming through? Any changes come into the app, any way of doing it? It's silent there. So I'm still chasing that and trying to get information. But you should, if you've got the confirmation that you have the cash back, and I've also asked, is there a way for anyone to sort of double check they are earning it if they miss that notification? Like I've not been using it because I'm using other stuff, but I did refer one person just by chance during the offer period, and I've got like some money through them, £10 through as a referral. So in theory, I should have got a notification that I should be eligible for this. I've not seen it. Can I get it? Can I not? I don't know. I would say if you are unsure about it, get onto their helps at their service, the customer service thing, and get them to confirm it for you. But any information I have, I will let you know. And again, probably that in a couple of weeks' time. Well, not even a couple of weeks, is it? We're on the 21st today. So in, I don't know, well, maybe, week and a half, 2 weeks, I'll do a banking update with more information on that, any information that I have on that. So, Swagmail. Hi Andy, I've had 11 credit applications in the last 6 months. Does this matter in the long term? 1 year plus in the future. So the thing about every time you apply for credit, and I've covered this quite a lot, so I won't go into full detail on this right now, and I have got a number of videos and articles which will take you through how credit scores work and credit checks and all those kind of things. So do check those out if you're not sure about these things. But effectively, every time you have a hard credit application made, a search by a lender on your credit file, that will be marked on there. And it will last there for maybe 6 months. And then that will appear to anyone else. And every time you apply, it will reduce your score. Now, score doesn't necessarily mean as much as you think it does, but it still will give you representation of what lenders look at it going, oh, there's been a lot of applications in the short term, which will make it harder for you to be accepted for credit. Now, those applications will disappear. So longer term, a year ahead, 2 years ahead, doesn't make a difference. Really, 6 months is where you kind of want to be sort of looking at the focus before they drop off, which is often why we say, if you're applying for a mortgage, which is really, really important, or any other kind of critical lending, maybe you desperately will need a 0% balance transfer credit card in the future. Don't make any other applications in that 6 months leading up to it, because there's nothing that will appear on there, because they don't know if you've been accepted or rejected, just that you've had a search take place. Right, let me go check Instagram again. Don't want to miss any. Hello to all of you, by the way. It's lovely that you guys joined me. I do really, really appreciate it. I used to shout out to everyone, but there's so many of you now, I can't give all the individual shout outs. Richard said something, replying maybe to something I've said about there. So about Chase card with 1% cashback. I might have missed something, or you're referring to something I said, Rich. Give me a shout if there's anything else actually from that I need to follow on from. Okay, Mini Mad says, with the Ford money offering fixed rates with a minimum amount of £500, is it worth it for those who are just starting? So this is about savings accounts, and on my blog, so becleveryourcash.com/savings, every single day I'm checking once or twice a day to see what the best rates are, what might have moved, any kind of higher rates or things that might have disappeared, been pulled from the market because they were too popular. And Ford Money have recently ramped up their rates, so there are a number of relatively high paying, easy access and fixed savers accounts in there, not necessarily top of the table, but near the top of the table. What's interesting when you look at the different things is some of them say you can open an account with £1, some of them might require £10,000. So that might kind of, limit your choices. If you don't have £10,000 or £5,000 or £1,000, whatever it might be, to open that account, you might not be able to go for it. Even if it's at the top of the table, you might have to work your way down. So yeah, absolutely, with Ford Money, if that is a £500 starting point for opening the account and the rates there are comparative to all the others, then yeah, give it a go. Totally. Andrew says, hi Andy, I've done a lot of switches lately, but I'm wondering what switch do you think is the best out of these two for my next one? The Virgin Money switch or the Santander switch? Thank you. So I absolutely would go for the Santander 123 Lite account as your next switch if you don't already have that account, simply because the Santander 123 Lite account, although it has a £2 monthly fee, again, I've got a whole video and written review of the account, so you can get all the details there after this. You'll get cash back on your bills. And as long as you are the person paying those bills, And you always double check that your supplier is included. Most of the big ones are, but maybe if you've got someone who's not in there, then you'll miss out. But your council tax, your energy, incidentally, energy cashback is going to jump from 2% to 4% in September and October, then back to 2%. Water, pay TV, ideally you're not paying for Sky or BT because it's more expensive than you need to be, but that's another conversation. Mobile phone, and I probably missed something else there as well. You get money back. That will give you, I normally say 40 to 60 quid. The way energy bills are going up, maybe it could be 50 to 70 quid extra every year. On top of that, £160 cashback. So that would be my number one pick if out of the two of them. Plus, the Virgin Money one, they generally change their offer every quarter. So Santander, do that one now. We don't know when that will disappear. There's no set end date for that. Normally lasts about 6 weeks when they've done it previously. The Virgin Money one, no reason why you can't do that switch in 3 months' time and get that. So Steve, I guess something like Steve, something like that. Steve, I can't pronounce usernames. It's a nightmare. Hi Andy, what do you think about applying for the BA Abios card to get the sign-up bonus despite still having a Chase debit card with 1% cashback for the next few months? I only want to use one really. What I would say about the BA Avios card is they've twice now, since it launched earlier this year, run a boosted welcome offer. So doubling the amount of points you would get. So there's no guarantee they'll bring that back. I would wait, particularly if you've got a couple of months, a month or so of Chase still to go at 1%, just wait and see, because if you can get that card with the welcome bonus doubled, obviously this is oh hang on, I'm confusing myself here. This is the Amex BA one, isn't it, rather than the Barclay card. So it's the British Airways Amex and there's a Barclay card Avios. They are different cards, but the same argument counts for both of them in terms of that double welcome bonus. And in fact, with the Amex one, if we're talking about the Amex one, as long as you haven't had a BA card in before, but had a different one, you still can get a boosted welcome bonus, a second welcome bonus from them. So I would wait until the offers are much, much better. Tracy says, evening, Andy. Given possible 80% utility bill rises, with hindsight, should people have fixed? Probably, possibly. It's one of those impossible things to say because everyone's different deals on different times, different prices. Yeah, I mean, I've got a friend of mine who did a 2-year fix this time last year, and she's just like delighted she did it. It was more expensive at the time, no kind of real kind of knowledge of what was going to be coming our way, but decided to do it to have certainty on what her bills were going to be. And so obviously she's saving an absolute fortune. Yeah, and sadly though, it's one of those things you can look back, can't do anything about it. It just is what it is. Let me just double check over on Insta as well. Anyone else coming in with any more questions there? No, that's cool. It's all on YouTube, so I'll pop back onto YouTube because there's loads here for us to get through in the next 15 minutes. Oh, by the way, quick favor, if you're watching this live or re-watching this, I'm already halfway through now, it'd be great if you don't mind in the comments doing the little time code and what the question is, which helps people who come later on. They don't want to watch the full thing, they can jump between them. That's really handy if you don't mind, but there's absolutely no pressure on that one at all. Oz says, is it better to use Amex points towards travel hotel stays or use towards paying the annual fee? So Amex reward points are ones which come with certain cards. So the reward card itself, if I can cover my details here, I can show you it now. I got one of these the other day. It's a very disappointing card actually. It's see-through, it's a bit rubbish. But anyway, that one, the Preferred Rewards Gold credit card and the Platinum card. They are the main ones that earn Amex reward points. They aren't necessarily the highest earning ones. You generally get more with the Nectar one or the Cashback Platinum cards or the BA Amex cards. But even so, they have their uses, particularly those welcome bonuses are pretty good. Now, personally, my favorite way to redeem these is to swap them into Avios points and then into Nectar points. Nectar points you can use at Sainsbury's, Argos, and eBay. Now, even if Sainsbury's isn't your main supermarket, you've probably got one near you or you've got the online one you can use. That means you can use those points that you've earned. You get a higher redemption value, works out at 0.8%, higher than you're going to get anywhere else, and it's on something you actually need. Now, if you use it towards travel, hotel stays, use it towards your credit on your account, you're normally getting 0.5%, maybe even less if you swap it for vouchers. So I absolutely would use them for Nectar, even if you don't use Sainsbury's on a regular basis. You know, okay, people think it's a more expensive supermarket, but there will be offers, there will be deals. I think that's a much, much better option. Kyle says, just want to say a massive thank you. Oh, very good, kind of use Kyle. I'm always nice to hear that you guys are actually helping you and making a difference. And what I say, your blog and videos are great. I opened a dummy Monzo account in June and I've made 3 switches since then, earning myself 450 quid. Currently waiting for my 4th switch into Nationwide. Fantastic. So that's going to be another 125 quid. That's amazing. That's just since June. Well done. That is amazing. And particularly right now, that's the kind of time when these things will make a big, big difference. So I'm really glad to hear that from you, Kyle. Mike says, Do you expect to see top savings interest rates increase in the next week or two? Do you think Chase will increase their savings rate? So let's first of all, do I think that interest rates will increase the next week or two? I think we will see continued increases. We've seen it since the base rate increase. Oh, when was it? It's 21st again today, isn't it? So has it been about 2 weeks since the increase? I can't remember now. And bit by bit, some of that 0.5 percentage points has been passed on. Particularly, we've seen more of it in the 1 year fixes, but definitely in the easy axes, they've jumped up as well. But not the full amount and not by every bank. And there's also now speculation that the next interest rate rise that we're going to see in roughly a month's time, on the 16th of September, I think it is, Thursday, 16th of September, could well be another 0.5 percentage point increase rather than a 0.25, you know what I'm saying, right? So we go from 1.75 now to 2.25 rather than to 2%. It could obviously stay it is, but that's kind of where the speculation is right now. Sometimes savings accounts will price that into it. So they'll anticipate it and they'll move beforehand. Some of them will wait for it. So yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to keep seeing it. And in fact, the video I'm going to try and do for next week, we'll be looking at when you should move money, when you shouldn't move money in terms of increases, but also in terms of the personal savings allowance. Because obviously the higher the interest rates are, the easier it's going to be for you to reach that £500 personal savings allowance if you are a high rate taxpayer, or £1,000 if you're a basic rate taxpayer. In terms of Chase, really don't know. I would be surprised if they don't do something, simply because they put so much money and so much effort into this account. You've got the cash back, you've got the savings. There was that whole thing with that £20 refer a friend scheme, which went absolutely crazy. Loads of people signed up for it. So much money they put into it. It would seem to be counterproductive for them to go, oh, actually, we're going to let all this money disappear, all these customers disappear. But maybe they feel they've done enough. We are obviously coming up to the year anniversary in about a month's time. It was mid-September last year that it launched. Maybe they're going to wait and do some kind of like, it's been a year, here's what we're going to do next. Whether it's on savings, whether it's on cashback, it's really hard to say. Remember, this is a big international bank, one of the biggest in the world. Although the UK one does operate, they say it's a bit like a startup and a bit of a small team doing these things, they're still very, very well resourced. They still have to answer to the States. So I can't imagine it's a simple decision. Okay, let's do it. They have to kind of go through lots of processes. As soon as there is any information, I will be telling you here and on the blog and also on those social media channels. If you don't already follow me, at Andy Clever Cash on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. There's also the Facebook community, which actually throw that shout out for that in now. If I don't get round to your questions tonight, or there's questions any other time, I often get questions through on Instagram, on the DMs there, and on email. I can't possibly answer the amount I get through. I'd love to if I could, but I can't. The community on Facebook, becleveryourcash.com/community. That is the way, the short URL to get to the group. If I can't answer it, there are 2,200 other people, probably a lot of you watching right now, but who can also chip in with their experience. And sometimes you're fantastic and you even say, look, Andy's written about it here, or Andy's written about it there, done this video here, which helps me a huge amount. So yeah, absolutely, they are the places to go if anything changes. So Petru says, hi Andy, I can't understand why I have a very good credit score in Experian and TransUnion, but when I check on Equifax, it's saying that I don't have any credit history on my name. Okay, so that's interesting, because if you've got the reports, the credit files there on the other ones, what's going on with Equifax? And this is something in the back of my head, there's something familiar here about this. Get in touch with Equifax if you haven't already, and try and find out what's going on there, because it could well be there's some error going on, some reason why they can't connect you to the other account. Maybe there's someone else with very similar details, similar name and address, date of birth and things. Or maybe there's a mistake somewhere, which means you're not corresponding. So get in touch with them and try and find out what's going on there. Try going via someone like ClearScore as well. I don't know if this will work. I'm just sort of thinking off my head here, but ClearScore do connect to Equifax. Maybe the error is with the Equifax front end, but maybe you can get to it via ClearScore. So give that one a go. Malaka says, I still like Chase, but I moved my savings away to Zopa. Okay, do I think Chase will put the interest rates up anytime soon? As I said, I don't really know. But at 1.5% there and 1.9% with Ariane, 1.85% with Synergy. If you've got a decent amount of money, that is a substantial amount of money to move over. Now, you can always move it back. Bear in mind, one of the issues with Chase that's come more apparent right now as people move money out is there sometimes can be restrictions on how much money you can move. So just bear in mind, you might have to do it in batches. Reinhardt says, hi Andy, my fiance and I just moved to the UK last week and opened Monzo accounts. We want to know whether the joint account could negatively affect our credit score or hinder them to improve quickly. So joint accounts do have an impact on credit scores if one of the person has something bad going on. I don't think good thing really brings someone along. It's more like, oh, this person is defaulting on debts, has a county court judgment or bankruptcy, all those kind of things. So if there's bad things going on, it can bring down the other person down on their credit report. I don't think necessarily it's going to help the other person, because you still want to have the credit in your name in order to boost your credit file and boost the strength there. Jack says, you mentioned you have a stocks and shares ISA. Any chance of a video dealing which stocks you invest in? Some of you will be familiar with this. I don't talk about investing a lot on the channel or on the blog, simply because it's not my expertise, right? I can talk about bits and pieces, but if I tell you what I'm doing, some people will take that as the thing to do. You've got to do your research on that stuff independently, I would say, because I can tell you about bank accounts, savings accounts, bills, money saving hacks, all that kind of stuff. But investing, yeah, I think it's better that you kind of do your own research on that. So there won't be any videos explicitly about what I do. Nika says, which high street bank has the best mobile banking? So I've got a video which is probably about a year and a bit old now, so it's a bit out of date, but it's definitely worth looking at it. It's a long one, but it's a lot of detail comparing all the big apps. Obviously, things have moved on since then. But if you're excluding Chase, Monzo, and Starlink, which probably are the better apps, I would actually be looking at NatWest or Lloyds. I think they probably are the stronger ones there. Barclays isn't too bad, but yeah, Halifax and Lloyds, it's the same app. They are, I think, the winners in terms of what you can do and the features they have. Boothie says, what's your recommendation for a cashback credit card at the moment? So obviously the Chase 1% debit card, it's very, very hard to beat that 1% anywhere, because you can use it anywhere. If you want the highest percentage back on a cashback credit card that's effectively free in the first year anyway, it's a small fee in year 2, it's the Amex Nectar. As long as you're happy to get Nectar points, you are getting 1% back. 2 Nectar points for every pound you spend, so 1%. You can't really beat that one. There might be a few store-dependent ones which give you that rate or higher when you shop with them, but broadly, that one, on all your shopping, as long as Amex is accepted, you get 1%. If you want a non-Amex card, then the Barclays card, Abios credit card, there's a free version and a paid version. I would ignore the paid one for most people. The free one will give you one Avios point for every pound you spend. That's the equivalent of 0.8% back, again, as Nectar points. But that's going to beat the next best ones there. Normally 0.25%, maybe up to 0.5% if you spend a lot there with the Lloyds and Halifax cashback credit card. But they're the 2 highest paying ones. Of course, you might want to factor in welcome bonuses, which that's a whole different kettle of fish there. But broadly, the best paying welcome bonuses are with Amex. So again, lots of content I've got about how they compare. So do check that out if you haven't already got an Amex and you're eligible for the offer. In fact, if you have, as I mentioned earlier, if you have had a welcome offer from Amex, you might be eligible for another one, depending on which card you previously had. Right, hang on, let's go and check you on Instagram. I don't want to neglect you guys here, but sometimes the scrolls through and I do miss some questions. We've got a question here. So, Yay Yamos also, you asked the question. Okay, let me see if I can find it for you. It does scroll down so quickly on here that I don't always spot them. No, there's no question from you there, mate. You must have not pressed enter or something. I can't see it. So do fire it in again and I will answer it for you. I'll do my best to. Anyway, how long we got? 7 minutes. Andrew says, hope you're back to full health. Yeah, last time I did these about 2 and a bit weeks ago, I was recovering from COVID, maybe a week and a half ago. Yeah, I feel all right now. Last couple of days, finally back to normal. Still a little bit of a cough, but broadly all good. So Andrew says, what is the best place to save £500 a month? I need maybe some access as savings for next year's holidays and any unforeseen expenses. So if you want full easy access to it, 500 a month. First of all, I would look at the Virgin Money M Plus account. In fact, you know what? For ease of use, a simple account, it might not be the highest paying overall, but the Virgin Money M Plus current account, you can get 2.02% on £1,000 in there. So that money is a current account, take it in and out, fine, no problem. So completely easy access. And then linked to it is an M Plus saver paying 1.71%, and you can have up to 25k in there. There are going to be regular savers out there which pay more, but again, that might limit your access to them. They do vary from type account to account. But if you can lock things away, then great, look at those. If you need access and you want to keep it simple, go for Virgin. If you want to mix things up a bit, then obviously you can go for one of those different accounts which pays more. Again, beclearyourcash.com/savings has a list of all the different options for you. Another asked question about Chase. Again, sorry about that, Dan. I can't tell you. As soon as I do, I will let you know if there are any updates. Lucas says, when I open a student bank account with an overdraft, it will be my only credit account. Does the 30% utilization rule apply, or would it be better to put the whole overdraft in savings? Yeah, I wouldn't worry about credit utilization and stuff with the overdraft. I would think here, just if you have a student account, if you're not going to use the overdraft, you don't think you're going to need it at all, just have that account just locked down, right? This is just for the overdraft. Take the money out of there and put that money into a separate savings account. If you need it, it's there. Effectively, you can still access your overdraft, but you're getting some interest. And obviously, so I wouldn't lock it away if you think you might need to access it, because then that's going to cause problems. And then I would have another account, I'd probably Chase or Starling, which you do all your spending with, and the great budgeting features that come with those. So you're not ever at risk of going over the agreed overdraft. You've got to be really, really careful of that. Of course, some of the conditions that come with a student account is often £500 has to be paid every single term. So just bear in mind that money will come in. You'll want to take that back out again into your other account. Of course, if you're not comfortable with that and that's a bit too complicated, then don't do it. And if you're going to need the overdraft, obviously, then you won't want to necessarily do that either. Vincent says, does a joint account affect credit scores? And if the Flex Direct after 12 months is closed with no outstanding, is that a positive increase in score? So we talked about the joint accounts and credit scores earlier on. Flex Direct is a current account, so it won't make any real difference what you're doing with that. Obviously, if you have the 0% overdraft on there and you're using some of that, that will potentially make a difference. But 0%, if you have an overdraft, it's a great option to clear it. Not necessarily a great option otherwise. Stephen says, thoughts on my credit card setup. I get fuel and groceries from Tesco, so use the club card credit card. Everything else goes on the Amex everyday card for places that don't use Amex. And for places that don't use Amex, I have the Barclaycard rewards. Would you agree? So I think, top of my head, I still don't think even shopping at Tesco, the club card credit card is going to be your the best way to earn money. Of course, if you are then thinking about maximizing your points because you want to use them for redemptions on Tesco, that's another matter. And obviously you can boost them, but the boosts aren't what they used to be. And a lot of the time I think, really, like I think if I regularly shopped at Tesco now, I used to years ago, but now where I live, there isn't a big Tesco. And I would use them for things like money off train tickets, or you could use the money off Uber. There were all these things where I could, I knew club cards were great and they would save me some money, those points. Now, you look at it, maybe a magazine subscription, maybe a rail card, maybe Disney Plus, but it's otherwise save. I generally think, you might have stuff that you love getting, that's great. But for me personally, if I had club card points, I'd probably just use them on the supermarket shopping. And then focus my efforts on getting the highest rate cash back elsewhere, which potentially could be the Amex everyday card. Yeah, hope that helps you. Manuel. Andy, can I have more than one current account and then use a dummy account to switch promos for other banks? You absolutely can. Lots of common misunderstanding that you've got a current account, that's your only one. You can have dozens and dozens. I have got right now, I've got no idea how many I've got, 15, 16 of them. That is an exception. You do not need that many. That's partly because they're legacy ones from offers that have ended, but also because I review accounts, I try things out. This is my job, right? I've got the time to do this in my day, not when you guys are working hard. So maybe 3, 4, 5 of them. Whole videos about both of those. Video about why you should have multiple current accounts, and a video about dummy accounts and how to set them up for switching. If you'd rather read, they're also on the blog. Salman says, do you know much about the Pulse credit card, the one that New Day is changing to? Yes, I'm going to write something about that next week. I've got some questions in with the press office about what happens to residual points, particularly from the Amazon credit cards. I haven't heard back from them, but hopefully I will early next week. But effectively, I've had the letter through. I'm sure if you have as well, they seem to be sort of rolling it through, sometimes in email, sometimes in the post, sometimes in the New Day app. And the Amazon cards are going to stop working mid-November. Originally, it was the end of the year. It's mid-November. They'll stop working. You can swap over to the Pulse card free, no credit check. You just get a new card. Everything will carry on relatively normally. There was talk originally about a 1% cashback for the first 3 months. There's nothing about that now. I wonder whether that's just going to be for brand new applicants rather than people who transfer over. But again, hopefully I'll get questions and be able to do that update for you on the blog this week and in my credit card update at the start of next month here on YouTube. How are we doing? Oh God, we're nearly out of time. Loads of questions. I'm so sorry, guys. Let me just check Insta in case. So, yay, Mansour says, I have Starling at the moment, but you've got no follow-up question. I seem to be missing your question. I'm so sorry. Best place for it, just go to the Facebook community, ask it in there, and then we'll be able to help out. Right. I think we might have to call it a day there, guys. Sorry. Some of you, AWS Best Credit Card for Cashback, spoke about that earlier in the video, so check back on that one. Obviously, content on the blog as well. Lots of chat here about interest rates. Will they go up? Will they not go up? Again, hard to say. Manuel was asking about the dummy accounts. Going to check out that video there. That's loads of information there. I think we might have to give it a call to hand. Let's do this one. Let's try this one. Saji says, my Amex Gold card is coming to an end next month. I've got about 50,000 points in it and spend about 1K on it per month. What do you recommend I do next? So really important. It's a really good one to end on here. I mentioned it earlier. If you guys were watching earlier, you showed that I got the Amex reward card here. This is a free card. Okay, there's no fee for this. I've got this. A couple of reasons. Quidco last weekend did a flash offer, £50 extra cash back if you applied for a card. So I got that. So hopefully I'll get a 50 quid for opening it. Sadly, that has finished. I didn't have time to share it with you because I spotted it very late on the Sunday. The reason I've got this is my platinum card I've got right now. I'm doing it just for the welcome bonus. Once I've got that welcome bonus, I will be closing that card down, getting a pro rata refund on the fee. So I don't want to lose those points. So I've got this reward card. So if you are going to cancel the gold or the platinum card, get this one in advance so your membership points will stay there. You're not going to lose them. So that's really, really important. In terms of which one next, you know what? I need to do a proper update on the different Amex cards. So I'll do that very soon. But there is information on the blog comparing all the different options. So do check that one out. Guys, thank you so much. There'll be another one live, probably about 2.5 weeks, probably on Thursday. I know mixing the days around was a bit weird, but you will be told about it on the newsletter, becloseyourcash.com newsletter. If you haven't already signed up for it, get that every Thursday. You'll get the best of everything I do all in your inbox. That's a great place to go. Have a lovely rest of the weekend. Enjoy the bank holiday weekend as well next time, and I'll see you soon.